What is up, my dudes? Do you want to be like this guy? Do you like the sound of jet engines revving while clapping people in the ring? Well, you're gonna wanna stick till the end, since we're gonna be unleashing that inner light. That's right. Today, we're going in depth with Ippo's style, so grab your notes. Your training arc is about to begin. We'll be splitting this crash course into 4 parts. As usual, we'll first discuss its attributes, followed by a rundown of its strengths and weaknesses. Once we're done with that, it'll be time for big brain tips. And lastly, we'll be discussing some advanced Ippo techs. I've actually found something new, so watch out for that. But before we get into any of that, look at graph. Look at it. Alright, that's enough. Let's go. To fully utilize this style, you must first understand its stats. Knowing your damage, guard, speed, and range are all crucial for success. We'll first begin with Ippo's. Ippo's base damage is unsurprisingly strong, since it's a style that heavily relies on raw strength and pressure. Look at how much damage a single M1 chain can do. A single barrage from this style is able to deal about 20% of your HP of healable damage. Moving on to its M2, similar to its basic attacks, it is also pretty strong. Surprise, surprise, however, Ippo's and Basic's M2 damage are the same. Take a look at this. Ippo needs 17 M2s in order to 100-0 his opponents. Here's Basic's M2s. Now, I have a question for you guys. Is Ippo strong because it's got similar damage to Basic? Or is Basic strong because it's got similar damage to Ippo? Now, moving on to Ippo's. This is Ippo's max reach. Pretty standard. Not too long, but not too short. A perfect fit for an infighter who's always in the line of fire. Ippo's M2s share a similar range with his M1s. Alright, let's see. Ippo's guard. Ippo's guard is pretty average, as Basic only needs 10 M1s to shatter it. Still pretty good though, since Basic deals good damage overall. Block capacity, Exhibit B. You'll need to be somewhat careful with Ippo's guard, as styles with good block damage can easily break your guard. Overall, this style's guard can hold its own on most occasions, but you cannot solely rely on it for defense. Now on to his. Ippo's startup speed isn't that good. It shares the speed Basic has, meaning that Ippo is heavily outsped by a lot of styles, making it really prone to being countered. That's something we'll learn how to mitigate later, so don't worry. Now, it's time to talk about Ippo's. This style's dashes are top tier, allowing its user to gap close while maintaining evasiveness, making it versatile with its offense. Ippo's dashes have little end lag, making it very spammable. You don't want to spam mindlessly, though, since Ippo dashes have a pretty strong forward push. If you're not mindful of where your dashes would put you, you'll end up putting yourself directly where your opponent can hit you. Alright, let's now talk about his. We're no stranger to Ippo's strong ultimate. This move right here deals a little over half your opponent's health, making it a very strong finisher. Let's see it in action. This style is one of the few styles that can knock out your opponent at half health. Now for Ippo's final attribute. Ippo's ability is the Dempsey roll. Once activated, he will weave side to side. In order to perform the Dempsey roll barrage, you need at least 2 Dempsey activations. This move deals a lot of damage, and is perfect for setting up ults. as it also shreds through blocks easily. This ability will also cause you to dash forward, and give you invincibility frames mid-dash, meaning it can be used as a defensive tool, as much as it can be used for offense. On top of the heavy damage it deals, the Dempsey Barrage also has anti-heal. Alright, time to discuss the pros and cons of this style. We'll first begin with discussing the things that this style excels at. As an infighter, this style is an absolute pressure monster because of its insane offensive prowess. Its gap closing capability is also top-notch, and because of his strong base damage, guards often fall prey to his punches, which often leads to his opponent's guard being broken, or them being forced to tank damage for their guard, to prevent it from breaking, creating a lose-lose situation for them. Finally, given the proper setup, you can end rounds quickly with Ippo's ult. Now for its weaknesses, let's first address its most notable one. This style has no back dash, meaning that if you engage your opponent, you have no choice but to commit, since your only means of disengaging is walking backwards. This can be dangerous against styles that can oppress you from a distance. Another thing about Ippo is that his Dempsey can be tricky at first, mostly because timing its dodges can be a little tedious. Ippo is a style that is meant for aggression. It's got well-rounded stats, that is balanced by his drawbacks. Now, with all of that out of the way, it's time for the next chapter. Now that you're aware of Ippo's attributes, strengths, and weaknesses, it's time to discuss how to use the knowledge you've acquired efficiently. First thing you need to have when playing this style is a calm mind. This may seem very trivial, but if you're always in front of your opponent, you can't afford to lose your cool, as one mistake could cause you your health bar. You need that "nah, I'd win" mindset, since you're always forced to an exchange when near your opponent. To develop your confidence, you need to put yourself in awkward spots, and keep doing so until you can stay calm in front of your opponent. This will likely cause you to lose your initial games, but this little trait is what sets apart a good Ippo from the average ones. So hone your confidence, even if it means losing some matches. Remember, discomfort is the catalyst of growth. Secondly, use your pressure to your advantage. Once you've inflicted enough pressure on your opponent, every move you make will put them on edge, and cause them to make mistakes. How do we do this, you may ask? Allow me to demonstrate. I noticed he was on edge here. Since he's dashing randomly, I made use of this by standing menacingly, which resulted in me catching him in a barrage. You can catch your opponent solely by capitalizing on the pressure you create. If you master this simple concept, you'll almost always dominate the mental warfare, and allow you to land more hits. Lastly, offense is your best defense. Since you have no backdash, you have to make sure you're on top of every exchange. It is ideal that you make your opponent initiate the disengage, since simply walking could put you at risk. One more thing, don't be afraid to run out of stamina if you can guarantee damage, but only do this if the damage is worth it. Alright, it's time to talk about some Ippo techs. Finally, we arrive on our last lesson, perfecting the Dempsey. We're all aware of this ability's weakness to backdash. To mitigate this, we have the infamous Dempsey Dash-In. To pull this off, you need to activate the ability at least twice, followed by a dash and an M1. Here's a demonstration. Pay attention. Remember, you need at least 2 activations, and dash. This is easy to mess up, so practice, practice, practice. Now, we've got a counter to backdashes, but what about people who can side dodge the Dempsey? Don't worry, we found an answer to that. Let me show you. Keep your eyes peeled for this one. Did you see that? Here's a replay. We can still get another shot at the barrage despite missing once. You can trigger this by quickly doing an M1 immediately after missing. Lastly, you can actually take a round even if your opponent is still above 65% with a single combo. Our homie Normal Guy 1876 suggested this. Let's see it. This is more of a combo than attack, but it's really good, so I included it. By combining your ability with your ult, you can create a makeshift mini Iron Fist ultimate. Phew, congratulations! You have completed this crash course. Now use your knowledge in the ring. Did you learn something? If so, please consider liking and subscribing. Alright, flute time. Hello again. I just want to thank all of you for all of the support. Quick shout out to the OGs who has been here since the beginning, and welcome to all of the new recruits to our growing army. I love all of you guys. Be seeing y'all in the next. Boom Man, out.